Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's webinar on the shortcut to e-commerce and the advantages of an integrated web shop. The presentation will be done today through Bram Streefkerk and myself, Oliver Burr. Bram, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon everybody. My name is Bram Streefkerk. I'm Product Marketing Director at Sana Commerce. So today I love to tell you some backgrounds of the opportunities of the product and e-commerce in general we sell. So I look forward to it.
Brilliant, thanks Bram. My name's Oliver Burr. I'm one of the sales consultants at eBECS, and I'm obviously hosting today's session. If you've got any questions as we're going through the session, just please put them in the question box and we'll try and answer them as we're going through. That'll be brilliant. Just start off with a brief agenda. For those that don't know eBECS, I'm just going to start off with an introduction to who we are as an organisation. Then Bram's going to talk about the introduction to Sana and discuss the business. And then we're going to go into the bulk of the presentation, which is the e-commerce opportunity to realize your true potential and the shortcuts of e-commerce, the 42 benefits of integration. So that's the agenda we've got for you this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, so those of you who don't know eBECS, we're a Microsoft business partner. We solely sell Microsoft. If you look at the diagram in the middle, we offer the full range of Microsoft products. And actually last week we were very proud to be announced Microsoft Partner of the Year for 2016. So out of around 20,000 Microsoft partners in the UK, eBECS came #1, so we're extremely proud of that award. Further awards on the left-hand side, we've been Microsoft Dynamics Partner or Reseller of the Year 5 out of the last 6 years running. So in essence, if Microsoft is the product you want, we believe eBECS is the right partner to work with. If we look at the diagram in the middle, the main products we sell is the core ERP software, so that's around Navision and AX, and we'll be discussing those in a bit more detail today and how we interface with the e-commerce platform. We also offer a CRM product, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, the full Office suite, so Office 365. We've got a business intelligence practice. And also we can provide all our solutions on a private or public Azure offering, and this can be a completely managed service. So we're in essence the one-stop shop for all your Microsoft requirements. I'll pass you over to Bram, who's going to introduce Sana.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. What we see here is the office we're working from. We're working in an old factory, and introducing ourselves starts normally here to show you really where we are. This is an office full of e-commerce specialists, and what we do is delivering next to our product quite a few services on top of that, if that is wanted, and always in cooperation with eBECS. So we can deliver implementation services of the web store, web shop design, services related to e-marketing to get more out of your web store by means of attracting traffic and converting it to a sale, of course. On top of that, we do hosting, and of course, as a Microsoft partner, we are as well a formal Microsoft partner. We do that on Microsoft Azure if wanted. So to proceed in the introduction to Sana, what we did, we as a company, we bundled more than 20 years of e-commerce experience into a product, and the product I will later on show to you is fully integrated with Dynamics NAV or Dynamics AX. Within Sana we have over 175 e-commerce specialists that are either busy with our product or with the services around it. We're in 8 offices worldwide. We originate from the Netherlands, the office you just saw in Rotterdam. We have 6 people working in USA, in Singapore for Asia Pacific sales, in UK we are represented as from this month with 3 locally from Manchester area. In the DACH area, so that is the German-speaking part of Europe, we are represented with an office. Ukraine is our development stack, and in Sri Lanka we have developers as well. As eBECS is a partner of Sana and we are a partner of eBECS, we have 50 partners worldwide selling Sana, having implemented over 1,000 web stores, and we have a proposition in which we can provide the integration and the web store out of the box in a standard installation in a 7 days fixed price proposition. So these are the offices I just told you about. The 6 in New York and in Detroit, Manchester. It says 2, but we were hiring, so new people have arrived and will arrive coming weeks. German area has now been controlled from Austria in Vienna, and Sri Lanka and Jakarta, where we have a salesperson. So if we are talking about web stores and websites and online commerce, where are we talking about? So I just put here an example of one of our customers, and typically this is a B2B solution. We are in B2B and in B2C, and is a manufacturer of toys and garden toys for kids. The trampoline and the carts and the go-karts you see here. And when you look into their web store, it might look like this. So it's actually a representation of their catalog, combining business information like pricing and stock information and article numbers, etc., with an enriched representation of the product, images, maybe multiple images you can zoom into, and of course everything that's needed to convince the buyer to buy the products. Furthermore, also we give insight into account-related information, in which you also can see your history of orders and to use that as a starting point for new orders. Quotes can be part of that as well. And this way, of course, the web shop can act as a self-service portal. We can deliver what we do deliver as well is an online ordering app. It's also available for Dynamics NAV and AX, and it provides sales agents with a tool that they can use while being on the road. So either it's connected through the internet real time to AX and NAV. You can see your ordering history and open amounts. But you can also place the order for your customers right there, either through catalog browsing or as a quick ordering service by only entering the product name or article number and the amount you want to order. The nice thing of this app is, of course, it's available through the App Store, so you can download it right away because it's a full functioning app. And after you've been purchasing the license, you can run it through your own and against your own Dynamics backend. Of course, that's one thing I want to mention here. The app also works when being offline, so it lets you prepare your trip. So if you know which customers you want to visit, you can even carry the personalized information like personal pricing and other stuff from this customer into the app. So you have always the data right at hand. And for all the other orders, it will be synchronized after you're back within the region of your network. So today, where would we like to share some thoughts with you about? It is about some of the backgrounds on e-commerce. So which are the advantages and which could we use? And this is a small video I can show you. So I'm not sure if it was going right. I saw in the screen. So actually what it says is that we started e-commerce and we started with Sana because we think that companies could be leveraging everything that is provided by an online channel, but we also see that a lot of companies are struggling with making the decision to start using an online channel, and so that is why we said, well, we start with taking the ERP as a starting point, because you've put so much of your energy and your investments into modeling your business processes in your ERP, and this ERP also contains everything you need to go online. So we think this way it's much easier to start an online sales instead of pulling up any other ordinary web store, which you then later need to connect to your ERP. I will come back to that later. So this actually tells about how that works. You have your ERP, you put all your data in it. We created Sana as a part inside that ERP and connect from outside to that part. And the interesting thing here is that since we are inside Dynamics AX and Dynamics NAV, we can have it certified as well. So our solution is certified for Microsoft Dynamics NAV and AX, the latest versions. We are a gold partner of Microsoft, just like eBECS, and we're also, for a second year in a row, part of the President's Club of Dynamics. And that says something about the growth and the business we are representing towards Microsoft. So we're very proud of that. And maybe some other recognitions is that the way we set up our websites is recognized by Gartner. So we try to be in their vendor guides, of course, and as well with Forrester, which have mentioned us as an upcoming mid-market solution as well. So if we are talking about the e-commerce opportunity, so what can you really try to achieve when setting up a web store? We also look to Gartner and Forrester to find out about the opportunities. And there it says, of course, we look into the online retail as well, which is not so much B2B, but what we did see, of course, that they're running a little bit ahead of the B2B, and we also see what is happening there, the measure of companies that are starting selling online. So they projected 480 billion of revenues in the online retail, and so what we see as well is that buyers are transforming. So what you see is that professional buyers are more and more starting to use the internet before buying, so to get informed and to get to get informed about what they're buying. And that it also says that 68% of these buyers are already purchasing products online. So what does this mean for you as a company? If you know that professional buyers are using the internet by these amounts, then of course, as being a supplier, you need to be there, and you need to have your assortment and your products out there online in a nice and easy way, with all the related product information and maybe enriched product information. So if these buyers start looking for products like yours, they will find you, and they will also see that you can help them further, and you have a really added value towards the things you deliver. So what you see as well is, of course, that the business is adapting. So 80% of companies regarding, in this Forrester Research document, plan to invest in B2B e-commerce. And 37% of these companies already started with e-commerce in order to be ahead of competition. What we see, and we're in business since 2008 with Sana, that companies that were going live in 2008 and 2009 of our customers sell up to 70–80% of their business online through the Sana portal. So of course it took quite some years for them to get there, and also, of course, it depends a little bit from the industry they're working in. But we see both in fashion as in packaging industry that having an online portal, selling their goods online in a B2B environment did boost their order and did boost their efficiency. And we will go into these advantages a little later in this presentation. So some other slides is of course prediction, and what you see in B2B e-commerce is that the market size is growing with a steady 10% per year. So well, having these buyers getting online, getting informed in a way that doesn't take you time as being a merchant, and the web store is always there, and when it contains the good information, these buyers get informed with a very low how you say that, investment from your side once you're live. So what other trends do we see? Well, of course, I just discussed about the retailers that went ahead, and that you see that wholesale distribution and manufacturing is following. So the nice thing is, of course, that we can learn from what the retailers are doing, and that goes both in the user experience and the features being delivered in the web store, but of course also how they provide their services and how their business is being modeled. And for us here in the Netherlands, it is very clear that those retailers that didn't jump on that train, that didn't join the movement, are having very hard times, and quite of stores that were here for years and for decades went bankrupt since they missed the online train. Other trend we see, and it's also been asked to us when delivering web stores, is that customers demand an Amazon-like experience. So I think you can say that for yourself as well. If you're at home and shopping for yourself, of course you will go into the web stores that deliver a good experience and nice looking stores that are easy to interact with. Well, this of course goes for B2B web stores, and we try also to put as much as we can of these experiences of retail into our B2B stores as well. One might expect that the experience for B2B should at least as good as an online retail store. Of course, it's a no-brainer. Mobile devices and the use of mobile devices continue to grow. The app we deliver is one example of that, but of course also that the web store itself is rendered in a responsive way, as we call it. So the web store should always render good, albeit on a smartphone or on a tablet. It should always give a perfect user experience. The other point here is indeed that we see that the central role of the ERP system in relation to online sales it plays a much more important role than years ago. So indeed companies do see that ERP system and the way it already contains the automation of their business processes could be leveraged when setting up a web store. So thinking from that and taking the ERP as the one and only central source of truth in setting up an online strategy is becoming more and more important. And then of course the last point here is that we see a more demand and a growing demand for second generation e-commerce platforms. And so maybe that goes for you as well, that companies that do have some experience in setting up an e-commerce platform and now are using this experience for the requests and the requirements for a new store. And I think that's good because we see customers and companies that have been gaining experience here much better know what they want in setting up a new web store. And of course for the companies that do now start for the first time, we're happy to serve and to help them out with these experiences of the other companies' first e-commerce experiences. So if we look in some reasons to start online, I think we always try to have and to explain 3 of the main advantages. And one of them is the improved customer satisfaction. And sometimes that sounds like a no-brainer, of course, like the satisfaction of the customer by 24/7 availability, the information which can be very detailed and accurate on the web store, and the way you can help customers find that information by maybe sophisticated filtering systems. That sounds all like a no-brainer, but when we hear back from our customers that they are astonished by the number of orders that are actually placed outside office hours. So they went live and they said, of course, we're 24/7 availability, that is okay, but now we see how many of our relations and entrepreneurs that maybe are busy in daytime and at working hours, and that take the time at night to place the order and maybe also to run through their order history and also update their own administration based on that in their own time. So this is all satisfying this customer because he can do it on the time he wants, and if that's at night, that's perfectly fine. But also for the request for information, if maybe some parts of an installation are needed or are what parts do belong to what machines, typically these inquiries that go over phone and take a lot of time of your sales can also be executed as a self-service in the time that the customer wants it. So that is perceived as a good service and a good value, and therefore increases the satisfaction of the customer. Here we have a quote of one of our customers. They deliver very precise tools and equipment for machinery, and having all their information online and the filters for their customers to find it really saved them a lot of time, but their customers were much more happy with it because they could find all the detailed information on their store within a click. So a second advantage next to the improved customer satisfaction would be a higher online revenue. And also this sounds like too good to be true, but it is research as well, and we also see that the order value of an online placed order is a little bit higher than orders that are placed through the traditional way. And so there are a few tools, of course, which are standard in our software, but which are also expected when going online, that help to increase that order value. So you can think of cross and upsell possibilities, and we can use the relations that are already in your Dynamics environment between your items and your products to do a relevant upsell or a cross-sell. But you can also think of repeat orders that have been placed already and can be used as a starting point for a new order. Quick ordering, a way of delivering the easy entry of order information for experienced buyers, and of course delivering all kinds of tools like autocomplete and search help and filtering help to these professional buyers. And doing so, their orders will be placed much easier and much more frequent, because if it's really helping them out, and they will be much more likely to place these orders. And we introduced something new which is called order prediction. So order prediction is a way, an innovative new feature of Sana. And actually what we do is we take a look at the order history and the trends in that for each customer, and when he hits the order prediction button within the web store, we generate what we think would be the next order, and based on that, if of course this is a relevant information, the customer is more likely to buy from that predicted order. We released it this year as a first release. And as it goes with these kind of innovations, and we are now looking into to further improve this feature and make it much more comprehensive, taking much more details into account, and using also artificial intelligence here as well to make it better and better. So, but the first experiences also of our customers are very good, and also although it seems like a gimmick, I think it can be really used as a very nice and commercial tool. So the online revenue was also a reason for Broekhoff, which is a Dutch manufacturer of packaging materials for the flower industry. And actually they saw two things. They earned their investment on Sana back in 9 months, so that is quite okay, I think. But next to that, they said we now sell in markets we didn't sell before. So having all their assortment online with all the detailed information about well, all the details of packaging of the flower packaging stuff, they now sell abroad, and they sell containers full of their materials overseas. And whereas before they only were selling within the boundaries of the Netherlands. And that was really an eye-opener to them, because with relatively a few extra investments, having set up the web store, and of course they had to figure out how to deliver in these other countries, but they're very glad they did, because it's now for them a very vast part of their revenue and their increase of revenue. So the third advantage, and maybe we should start with this. So first we had, of course, the customer satisfaction as a first advantage of start selling online. The second one was the higher order revenue and the order value. The third one is that the efficiency of the sales department is increased by setting up a web store. I just briefly touched the fact that customers now get informed through the web portal. And of course it takes a lot of time and energy to enrich your product assortment with information that is relevant to your customers. But once you did, and your customers know their way, they won't be picking up the phone and asking all detailed questions about products and maybe installation or maintenance guides, because they can all find it back on the web store. So that results in less manual work and less errors. The ordering and taking phones, or maybe reading a fax or an email, which is all unstructured information, and also results in more errors, can be skipped. So the sales force now can do what is more important and go after the relations that do really matter, and all the standard requests for information and standard ordering can be taken care of by the web store. And of course, one more important thing is the efficiency as well comes in our case, that you do not need to maintain your web store and your ERP. But in our case, you just maintain your ERP when it comes to business data. I will come to that later in this presentation and to explain how that works. One other customer testimonial here. Ratko is one of the biggest retail organizations within the Netherlands, having a lot of chains and stores in the streets of the cities here. Actually, Sana is used there in their B2B part of their supply chain. And up to 90% of this business now is going through the sales portal. And I always think I really love to mention Ratko, because they actually were the very first customer back in 2008 that went live on Sana. They are still a happy customer and are using us, I think, for 4 or 5 labels within their company already. And still a happy customer. And of course they have been upgraded, but they are still using Sana, so that is very good. So let me come to a little bit more to the product. So having told you a little bit about the trends in e-commerce, so all these buyers that go online and all these other companies that go online and try to attract these buyers, and having told about the advantages of the sales efficiency, customer satisfaction, and higher order value, I think now it would be nice to look a little bit more into our proposition, the Sana product, and how it works together with Dynamics, and how that in what we call the 42 benefits of e-commerce integration. And first, to explain our product, I would like to focus into what we call normal interface solutions. So if you look at the traditional e-commerce systems, we refer to those as interface solutions. And here you see, of course, the blue block is representing your Dynamics environment, which then on their turn comply of customer information, which is visualized here, the product information, of course, the orders, and the gears are representing the business logic. When you hook up an interface web store, here represented in the orange area, the interface web store also contains functions and database to store product information, to store and to process customer information, to process and calculate your orders, and of course it contains all kinds of business logic to make that happen. So basically what you see is that part of your ERP needs to be rebuilt in the web store. And imagine you have customer specific prices, or maybe you have a very specific way you calculate your discounts, or maybe you have tier pricing or units of measure of complexity that has been covered in your ERP system already that needs to be rebuilt exactly in your web store. But there's more. So the other thing is that once you have set up that store, it needs to be interfaced as well. So all the information and data from the store needs to get back into your ERP. But the other way around is also the case. If there are new products in your ERP system, changes in the structure, pricing, maybe product characteristics are added in your ERP system, they need to get to your web store as well through these interfaces. So, and what we see, because we also know from our mother company that setting up a web store like this is quite some work, are quite complex and expensive projects. So, and it results in a situation in which you maintain two systems. So two systems to maintain is of course well, raising complexity, but also raising the cost of doing so. So therefore we say we approach it differently. And what you see here is how we approach it with an integrated solution. So what you see here is we also take Dynamics, of course, as a starting point, containing all the products, customer, order information, and the business logic that most certainly has been tuned and tailored to your business specifically. So a lot of investment was going on there. And we created our web shop software right in Dynamics. So we have software that is inserted in Dynamics NAV. We have a completely different software that is inserted into Dynamics AX, and it's doing the same. It is very close to the business logic that's already available, but it's also very close to the data that is stored in your ERP. Of course, we also need a part that renders the web store. So we also have a part outside the ERP, here represented in the red area, and that part generates the web store. But it doesn't contain customer information. Sana doesn't calculate orders themselves, nor do we store customer or product information, because that's already available in your store. The thing what we do is we have a standard way of connecting to the part which is inside the ERP, and that way we are sure that there is no redundancy in the information, the calculation, so we do not have rounding differences. Then you can imagine the situation on the left. If taxes are calculated or discounts are calculated in the web store first and then are transferred to the ERP system that does this calculation again, that rounding differences can occur. And we know from quite some of the open source implementations being hooked up through this kind of architecture, that these rounding differences are really giving some headaches to the financial guys. So the Sana solution delivers you one system to maintain, one database that stores all the business related information, and a quick and smart integration from within the web store. And Sana adds to that the content management, the product enrichment, with rich information, maybe with PDFs and movies and other stuff. to make it a very good and good user experience in the web store. So, and what is more, this way of integrate touch points with the ERP system here right now, but maybe picking us the build from rid of the box standard, like with the support of bill of materials or kitting within AX, auto charges, the faceted search, which takes into account all the characteristics of your product database and allows it and provides it to the web store users to facet and to search and filter down the results in the web store. Tier pricing as well, or customer specific pricing, and everything. Also, when the pricing is very custom made in your ERP system, Sana just follows that calculation in the web store real time without transferring and synchronizing it. We created a white paper of this integration benefits, and you can download it at sanacommerce.com. So what's more is that these 42 touch points, since it's all standardized, we can deliver it in a 7 days fixed budget, together with eBECS, of course, and that of course refers to a standard vanilla implementation out of the box. But we stress it, since if you compare it to a interfaced solution, it always takes much more time to hook up all these interfaces and to rebuild part of your business logic in the web store. So it is more to stress that we can deliver it out of the box in a standard solution. We as well created here a fact sheet about what you get in the 7 days proposition, and it's also on our website, so please go ahead and download it from there. So that brings us to the end of this this webinar, and I think after we can answer your questions, of course. I think what we went through is to give you some background about the e-commerce opportunity, to leverage everything that's happening around us in the world, but also to use it to reach your full potential being a business and adding an online sales channel. The first steps can be hard, setting up a web store, so that's why we created a web store that uses and is already in your ERP system. And the other advantage there, next to that, it is a simple solution. It also delivers a very broad and wealthy integration with 42 ERP touch points, and in a fixed budget. So 7 days for plain vanilla installation, and maybe a little bit more if we look into maybe some specific requests you have. We can always look into that. So that brings me to the end of this webinar. So what you could do next is download these white papers and fact sheet on our website on sanacommerce.com, or of course contact Oliver at eBECS. Here is his email address, and of course we will be more than happy to answer your questions. And so maybe for now, what we could do is, if you have questions right now, we can answer them as well.
Yeah, I think
so let's see.
Bram, there's a couple of people. No questions have come through, but what I think is probably good, I'm just going to unmute everybody. If there's any sort of specific questions, if I can do that. Can you unmute people from your end, Bram? Or if anyone's got any specific questions, if you want to type them into the question panel, and we'll answer those now. But as Bram says, what we would do is we would like to come out and specifically arrange further one-to-one sessions in order to understand your sort of specific requirements in more detail. So I hope everyone's found today's session useful, and yeah, if there's any questions, then please fire away. And apologies if you can hear the thunder and lightning in Manchester where I am. Well, as Bram says, my contact details are on the screen, ober@ebecs.com. Thank you for today's session. Thanks very much, Bram, for doing a very detailed overview of the Sana product. I can highly recommend it, and we would like to obviously engage in further questions. Here's a question that's come through. Bram, yeah, I think everyone's maxed out on the questions. So look, I appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you very much, Bram, and we look forward to progress this opportunity further. Thank you.